Slip Knit Podcast, a podcast about knitting. I hope you enjoy. Hi, I'm so glad to see that so many of you have subscribed. A few of you have also introduced yourself in the Ravelry group, and I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy the podcast, and if you haven't done so yet, please check out the Ravelry group, join the chatter, and please introduce yourself. If you have any comments to the episodes, I'd love to hear what you think. You can either comment below here on YouTube, or you can comment on the episode thread on Ravelry. Both here on YouTube and on Ravelry, you can also find all show notes. If you are watching this on YouTube, there is a link on to Ravelry group just down below. I'm so glad to see so many of you here. And this is episode 3. So therefore, to continue on last week's progress, I have 3 finished objects. Nah, I'm just kidding. I have 1 finished object, but at least it's something. I also have a couple of works in progress, and I'm really getting along with my blanket. So let's get started. So my first finished object is this shawl. It's my Kvothe by Carmen Smolne, and this yarn is Knit Picks Gloss Fingering. It's a silk and wool blend. I really like this color blocks. I'm thinking maybe I should, so this is how it looks. It starts here and it goes all the way out till the end. It's quite long. I haven't measured it, but I also made the bind off here in the grey. It's a small detail, but okay, it was because I ran out of yellow yarn. I wanted to use as much of it to make this stripe as big as possible, but I also think it's a cute detail. If you don't know that it was because I am poor at dimensioning my yarn supply, and this is just a piece of leftovers that I added on because I like it. I like the color. Then you really think this is a lovely, thoughtful detail. Let me put it on. In general, when knitting this shawl, I thought it was kind of satisfying to drop stitches without, you can actually just drop them and just leave them. Not the stress when you usually drop stitches. And especially when binding off, you really, really get this whole drop stitch feeling because you drop every 6th stitch. So yeah, in a weird, satisfying way. The bind off was first too tight, so I did it, it said just bind off loosely, like most patterns, and I did a regular bind off, but not loose enough. Therefore, I changed to a decreased bind off, where you knit 2 together through the back loop, slip, and then move that stitch back to the left hand needle, and then just knit that stitch together with the next stitch through the back loop. There is a link on my project page to it was not even a tutorial, it was just a description. It's really simple, but it made the edge stretchy enough. Or wide enough. Well, it's still a little bit tight because it's rolling up like this, but it's not too bad. And also on the other side, it's a little bit too tight where I did the increases. But I think it looks good like this. This is my new shawl, and this is my only finished object, so we'll move on to works in progress. But my first work in progress is a project you saw already last week. It's my Gudrun mittens, my feminist mittens. They live in this beautiful project bag from PhD Yarns. It's a bit geeky, but it suits me. I almost finished the first mitten. It doesn't have a thumb. I'm really happy with how the pattern turned out on the front side. It's a bit bumpy on the back side. I was not careful when I did the color work. Even if I've done color work before, I'm still no pro and I need practicing. That's why I do these mittens, because they are beautiful and because I want to practice. What is a bigger problem is the size, because you can see this is how much that is left on my fingers up here. I'm not sure, maybe I want to move the thumb hole a little bit higher on the next one I do. Because I don't mind if they are long down on the arm. That would complement my wardrobe. That means other mittens that I've knitted before are short. Yeah, so I'm thinking about making another one where the thumb is higher up. Hopefully I make it better work on the inside with the color work, and then I will have to unravel this. Or I will have two mittens that are different. I'm not sure. Again. Maybe. So it's almost a hoe, except the thumb. What is good with colorwork mittens is that they're usually quite warm. Even if you use a thin yarn like this is fingering, it will be a warm mitten because you always hold the thread double. Good. Also, I have to remember to make the thumb in maybe with a needle size slightly bigger. The thumb is always way too tight, so I have to work something out. Maybe a bigger needle size would work. I think it's because the circumference is so small, I just tighten up even more. Oh, I should say yarn too. This is also Knit Picks Palette. It comes in, I think, 150 colors. I checked the other day and then forgot. And this is the color Seafaring and Mist. Seafaring is blue and Mist is the light grey. I really, really like this motif though. Speaking about being a feminist, I can really recommend the podcast Soxcetera. She always talks about something like how to become a better human, and I think the last time at least, and I know at least one more time, she talked about how to be a good feminist and also how to, as a white feminist, avoid being a white feminist. Well, and also she seems like a lovely person, and so go check her podcast out. Next work in progress is something I started this week. It's my Waterlily top. Yeah, it lives in this highly regular project bag from Knit Picks that I got as a gift when I ordered a lot and they had a promotion. But the yarn is a little bit more special. And yeah, this is how it looks. This is bottom down, Waterlily top. I started at the bottom and this is how much I got. I'm always at the waist. The yarn is PhD yarns, the color Postdoc, and I said last time it's a silk wool blend. Well, it's actually a silk and merino blend. Yes, it's super soft and it's have this beautiful shimmering coating. I think it turns out quite well on the camera. I don't know if you can see it. At least it picks up light beautifully. I'm so happy with this and I can't wait to have it finished. The pattern, it's a straight top. I looked in the mirror and I said, I do not look like that and I don't think that would be very flattering on me. So I made it more Ylva shaped. I did some calculations. I first did a swatch. Looks like this, my swatch. I steam blocked it because I hate waiting. And if I show you the right side first, I hate waiting, so I steam blocked it. So I made a swatch, I steam blocked it, I measured the swatch, I measured myself, I made calculations and made sure I ended up with the correct number of stitches before the lace motif for one of the sizes. I think it's size 3. So I have a cast on, then I decrease on the back up to the waist, and then I increase on the back up to under the bust, and then I continue with the same increases on the back, but I also do more increases over the bust. So that is not in the pattern, so even if it's a paid for pattern, that's like free knowledge. When I look in the mirror, I have shaping on the back, I'm fairly straight on the front up to the bust, and then it goes out for my boobs. I also did that kind of shaping with my Siri cardigan that I showed last week. I'm a little bit worried that it would be too big because you can't try it on. And yeah, I'm lazy. I did not swatch in the round. I think it would be good enough. When I'm measuring my gauge, kind of the same. The fabric kind of feels the same. I'm always nervous that it would turn out the wrong size. It's not the whole world if you have to unravel. I like knitting, and I want to have a good looking shirt. This right now, when doing the stockinette body, it's great TV knitting. My last work in progress is my granny square blanket, and last week I had made 2 squares, these two, and I just can't get enough. I've made 4 more. I think so. Yep. I haven't really decided yet on which order to put them in, but it's fun to make them, and I will at some point start crocheting them together. I also have like half a square here, but I haven't decided the rest of the colors yet. And I put up pictures of each square on my project page if you're curious to see how I match my colors. And I think this whole matching the colors and not matching the colors is the most fun with this. I also realized I don't knit with green that much, even though I really, really like green. So I think I have to do something about that, but it's fun. What I have decided is that these squares will go into Soxcetera's Blanket Blitz knit along, and it's until May 30. You can also join in if you're knitting something out of scrap yarn. It could be, or crocheting. I'm not even knitting myself. So if you're knitting or crocheting something out of scrap yarn, it could be ornaments, mini sweaters, mini socks, cozy memories blankets, other squares, and yeah, scrap yarn knitting into small items. I think she first said that you have to do 40, but then she realized she wanted it to be totally relaxed and people can set their own goals. So now you just have to do stuff and then you'll join the KAL. So again, Soxcetera, really nice podcast. Go check her out. She also has a fun Blanket Blitz KAL that I will join, and you should too. That was my last work in progress. I really want to cast on a new shawl, but I haven't done so yet. I will talk about in the upcoming segment. And since I don't have any new stuff, which I also will talk about why on upcoming, let's go directly to upcoming. So, as I've been talking about since I started this podcast 2 weeks ago, Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival is coming up, and it's this weekend in just like 3 days. I will go on Saturday. So Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival will also have a podcast meetup from 1 to 2 on Saturday in the 4-H hall. And I will be there. I know a couple of you viewers have said you've been there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you. It will be great. I'm really looking forward to the whole festival. And I have somewhere planned what I want to buy, what yarn I want to buy. I'm not a huge fan of having tons of yarns with no plan in my stash because it kind of stresses me out. When you feel stressed about your stash, then it's too big. It doesn't matter how many skeins you have in there. That's just how you feel about it. But I've been checking out a few different shawls that I want to knit, and I hope to find yarn for. So the first one is the Sizzle Pop by Leslie Ann Robinson. I got the inspiration from Pin Feathers and Pearl, who got excited about brioche when she saw the shawl, and I haven't knit brioche before either, but I completely agree. I really want to try it out now. Seems like a really nice and squishy shawl, and it's beautiful, so I hope to find 2 good yarns for that one. Then you have the Graphic Infection by Josh Ricks. It looks like a starship. I hope to make it in maybe, instead of the black, have a lighter color, and then instead of yellow, have maybe a neon orange or pink. The last one I've been checking out is the Waiting for Rain by Sylvia Bovilvia, and I mean, the whole podcast world, or whole knitting world maybe even, I don't know, has been buzzing about this shawl. It's beautiful. So these are the shawls that I've been checking out and be looking for yarn for them on the festival. I also have a couple of socks that I might want to do, and I might, if I find a perfect yarn, I might buy something just for the stash. I have a couple of socks that I want to knit. I also have some yarns that I think would be good shawls. First is this ball. It was a shawl. I just unraveled it. I frogged it. Inspired by the little fairy of the Twitch and Stitch podcast, where she says, if you're not happy with it, just frog it. There will be more knitting time for the money. I don't know if she said that, but that's at least how I think about it. And it's about 190 grams of I would say fingering, but quite rough wool yarn. It's hand dyed, plant dyed. It was my mother-in-law who dyed it in the 70s when she took a plant dyeing course, and then she didn't do anything with it, so she gave it to me. It's a little bit of it's a warmer yellow than it turns out on the camera. I don't know. Maybe like, no. Well, just imagine warmer. Neckline, like a scoop out on the neck. You cast it on like 50 stitches instead of having a straight line near the top. And then at the end, it's like all wavy and frilly on the edge. Yeah, you can see here on the picture. And also I didn't really enjoy the pattern, so I decided to frog it. And now I can make another shawl, but I don't know what to do. I also tend to be drawn to lace shawls that actually knitted with lace weight yarn, and I don't know how they would be in this rough fingering weight yarn instead. Okay, yeah, speaking about upcoming, there has been a new upcoming podcast that I noticed. Can we talk about how Scotland just keep producing good podcasters? I'm sure you all have found Charlotte Knits by this time, and she's lovely. And now I just discovered David and This Boy podcasts. I mean, super relaxed, really nice guy. He's also yarn dyer. I think that was one of the reasons he started podcasting, but I really enjoyed watching his podcast. Quite short episodes this far, but definitely checking him out. He also has a giveaway in his last episode, so if you want to try out a skein of his own dyed yarn, please check out his podcast. So go over to him. You can of course find the links for that podcast and everything else I've been talking about down below with the show notes. So this was everything I had for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see as many of you as possible at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival this weekend. And after this, there will only be one episode where I talk about my experience was at Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, and then I will quit talking about it. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you soon again. Take care and happy knitting. Bye!